Hello, everybody. Welcome to our February live stream. We hope you're all doing well.
Hello.
Uh, we
Hello.
we have a returning guest with us today, Anthony. Why don't you introduce yourself for our new viewers today?
Yeah, hello. I'm Anthony Pecorella. I've been working with the Zelda Singularity team for about 6 months, with a focus on tuning and specifically in the Beyond, as well as a upcoming event that we'll talk about a little bit later. I have a history. I was the lead producer on the mobile version of Adventure Capitalist and have worked with a lot of idle games in the past. And so I spend my time in spreadsheets trying to make sure that the progression feels good and is interesting. And I'll let you all hammer me with questions about that later in the stream.
Yeah, we do have a Q&A session at the end that I know all of our regular viewers know about. So for anyone who's here for the first time, if you have questions for us and for Anthony specifically, we encourage you to wait until the Q&A session at the end, but sometimes we'll answer questions in between if something's really pressing. Thank you for joining us, Anthony. I can't wait to talk more about the Beyond tuning that we did earlier this month and to pick your brain about it.
Yeah, Anthony's very good at math. I think, yeah, and there's a lot of numbers in idle games, so to have someone have a math expert is very useful. And we're
Yes,
going to look at some of that math later on the show.
agreed. Andrew, how about you introduce yourself
Oh,
as well?
yeah, my name is Andrew Garahan, also known as Lunch. I'm the head game director, and do a lot of programming and yeah, a lot of game design stuff.
Yeah, both Anthony and Andrew are huge components, or not components, they are the reason why this event is coming out that we're going to be talking about today. I know we teased about it on social, and now some of you may have noticed if you opened up your games that there's something new happening, and we'll be talking about it today. And Anthony and Andrew were pretty much the people who propelled it forward. So it'll be fun to just go over that together. And I'm Emily. I'm the social media manager and basically the Twitch producer. So I'm here making this live stream happen, and we're very excited to have you all here with us today.
Yeah, this live stream would not happen without Emily. We do not know how to operate Twitch, but Emily has really upped the production power of this show.
There's always room for improvement, but I'm just glad that we're able to do this once a month so that we can reach out to our fans and talk to everyone about what's going on in the game. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. So we got the James Webb Telescope Exploration event. I don't know how many people here play other mobile games or idle clicker games, but we're finally starting to dabble into the world of live events, and they will be known as explorations moving forward in the Cells universe. So whenever you hear whispers of an exploration happening in the game, it'll be a live event that's only available for a limited time. Our first one ever will be about the James Webb Space Telescope, which I know we've talked about in past streams, so it might not be a surprise to some people, but we're really excited about getting it out there, and we're excited to get possibly a couple other ones up and running in the future. So we're just going to talk more about the details of it now, because it's going to be live tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. So started talking about the James Webb about 2 months ago. But it's finally here. It's finally coming out, and these exploration events kind of represent a new type of gameplay that we're bringing to Celta Singularity. So this is a limited time event. It's going to be going live this Saturday, and then it'll only be available for a small amount of time. So it's only around for 4 days. You have to kind of play it during that time, and there's different prizes that you can win and complete during that period of time. I think we'll look at some of that stuff.
Yeah. If in case it wasn't obvious already, it's about the James Webb Space Telescope. The things that you'll be learning about are things that our researcher gathered a lot of information on, stuff like the development of it, what what it consists of, what its objectives are out in space, even like the history of it, and some interesting tidbits you might not have known about it being created.
Is the James Webb Space Telescope?
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second.
I was going to say, what is the James Webb Space Telescope?
It is a space telescope that is its objective is to go out and to find out more about about other galaxies, other stars, black holes, all that jazz. I would love to go into more of it, but I don't want to create too many spoilers and give away all of the information that you could be learning in the event. So,
but yeah, so we did a ton of research, or Nisa and Jess and Emily, you are all part of the kind of the research writing team, and there's one of the reasons it took a while is because there's just a lot of content in there. I think we have over 40 different research nodes that you unlock. So in the event, it's a completely separate tree from the main game. It's like, we know we have the dinosaurs, the beyond, the main simulation. So these events are going to take place in a new space called the Exploration Hub. And when we run events, it'll be like different topics in there. So the first topic is about the James Webb Space Telescope, and you'll be climbing up a new tree that's all about the James Webb. And there's like a ton of research in that. And the event takes a couple days to beat. So you'll be, as you're playing through it, you're building this economy of, this idle economy up, but you're also learning a lot about the James Webb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that it's going to be in its own little separate space. I have a image of that for anyone who hasn't already been in the game to see where it's located. There's an icon that you click on below the simulation switcher button that's in the shape of the James Webb solar panel. And that is, when you click on it, there will be a little pop-up that says coming soon and how much time is left until the event is live. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and so that's counting down, and so it releases for everyone globally at the same time. So it's gonna be out tomorrow, Saturday at basically noon Eastern Standard Time. Mm-hmm. But for people in Europe, it's more like 6 p.m.
Yeah. And I see that some people are asking in the chat if we're going to answer questions. Keep an eye out, stay tuned until the end of the show. We have a Q&A session at the end of every single live stream that we do. We usually keep most questions until the Q&A session at the end, but if there's something that a lot of people are asking at once, we'll try to answer during the show. So as Andrew said, the live event will be happening tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. So again, that's Eastern time. So you'll have to calculate it based on your time zone when it'll go live for you. You could probably also do some math when you go into the game and you see like when the countdown is. Also, along with that, we are going to announce that it's going to end on March 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern. So if you have some time to work on the live event, we recommend penciling that into your schedule so that you don't miss it, because by March 2nd, it's going to be gone. So I think you'll want to collect as much as you can in the meantime during the event.
And also, like, this is kind of a prototype for us too. So this is a new thing we're doing. So we're really excited to see how people feel about it, how they like it, because we're planning to do more of these. So we'll be kind of getting feedback after the event's over to see what people like and what they thought about it.
Yeah, I know we often get a lot of feedback from our players about what kinds of topics they want to see. And you guys have often told us what you wanted to see in the live streams, which has definitely brought some things on our radar. So I think we'll be asking that again at the Q&A session, because I would be curious to see what kinds of events you guys would like to have, just based on knowing there's a James Webb Telescope event going on right now. What other stuff would you like to see? So hold your answers for the Q&A session. I'm curious to see what you have to say. And with the event ending on March 2nd, I thought this would be a nice little incentive for anyone who's like, well, should I play? Is this event for me? You do get a badge at the end of the game, at the end of the event, which I think is really fun. It's really cool. Anthony worked really hard on developing the boosts for it. Did you work, like, you worked on the economy for this game and the balancing of how this whole event will work out. So I think that's really cool. And if you wanted to share any information about it, now's the time.
Yeah, so we wanted to tune it so that earning the badges, and especially you can see there are 3 different colors of it. We have bronze, silver, and gold, and based on how far you get in the event before the end of it is what tier of that you'll unlock. And they do have an impact on the earnings outside of the event. So it gives you a bonus to your entropy earnings, but then also it's a cool collectible. But we also want it to be meaningful. So if it were super easy and everyone got the gold, then it wouldn't really matter. So we've tuned it so that if you're playing really actively, you should be able to get through a whole thing in probably about 3 days or so. Especially if you watch a couple of ads to get the boost doubler in there. Almost everyone should be able to get the bronze pretty quickly. So we wanted to make sure people get something out of it, but it's kind of something that you can be proud of earning if you get all the way to the gold. So that's how we were trying to tune it. And we'll be collecting data on how that goes and adjusting for the future. But that's the goal of it, is to make it interesting and compelling and something that is possible but takes work.
Yeah, these are also a little challenging. So not that Cell to Singularity isn't a challenging game, but these smaller events are designed to be more for the advanced players, kind of like players that have been playing a while, and they really are looking for a little more of a challenge and a little bit of a break from kind of playing the dinosaurs for a while. So it's kind of it's got a lot of the same game mechanics, but it's like a little refresher. And then these rewards are really like, because these are challenging, we want to make sure there's a reward for people that really do kind of go the extra distance to get it. Like, not everyone's going to be able to get the gold medal unless you are a top tier idle game player.
Yeah, we got to give our experienced players a bit of a break from grinding in Mesozoic Valley. So we hope you enjoy this event very much.
And that's one of the reasons that we are trying to move into being able to create events more often, is that it does provide fresh content that's accessible both to new players and players who've been around for a long time. But a lot of times, if you've been playing for months, you're still making progress in the core progression, but it's a bit slower. And so this, hopefully as we get into a regular cadence of this will give fresh stuff for you to play around with, for new trees and structures, new information, and topics to learn about, while at the same time continuing to progress through the core tree and dinosaurs and the beyond.
Yeah, and these badges that you see, so this is an example of like the James Webb badge, but if we do more events in the future, each event will have unique badges. So those will go into a special section in the achievement area. So you'll be able to kind of show those to your friends and stuff to show that you did complete some of these things.
Yeah, they're kind of like their own league of achievements, or even like secret achievements. So I want to see how many people can collect as many as possible. I'll definitely be lurking on the Discord if we set up like a new channel of like show off your badges or something. I think that would be a lot of fun.
And I saw some people were asking about internet access. The events do require internet access. I know that that's a little annoying sometimes. I wish we didn't have to require it, but for the events, because they're a little more serious and a little more competitive, we do want to prevent things like cheating and potentially time skipping. So the events will require Wi-Fi. Now the rest of the game does not, but for these specific things, we're planning to require that.
Yeah, we apologize for any inconvenience for anyone who isn't able to access it due to needing Wi-Fi, but we do hope that for anyone who is able to play it, that you enjoy it, and we always want to hear your feedback.
I agree with Wendy there. The logo looks awesome, and our artist did a really nice job with this one.
Oh yeah, Olga did this in just a couple days. She's amazing. But this is just to show you what the logo is going to look like in the game on our socials for the game icon when you're about to open it up on your mobile device. So you know that the event is still going on. The icon should no longer be there when the event is over. So it's a good way of knowing when the event is still going on, just a little reminder, so you can keep playing. But on March 2nd, that's when the event will be over. So for anyone who came in late, who doesn't know, March 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern, this event will no longer be available. So get ready. Also, I just wanted to incentivize a little bit, some people a little bit more about playing it, and you get to create a really cool 3D model of the James Webb. Well, not create it, but you get to flesh it out. It's in its own little space in the event area, and you can, based on your progression on the tree for the event, you can create this really cool 3D model over time in like a blueprint format. And this is what it'll look like at the end of the event. Sorry for any spoilers, but I think it's really cool. And if anyone's into the 3D model aspects of our game, then I think you would really enjoy this.
And an important note there too is if you get all the way through to the end, you actually can unlock this model to be in the beyond. So you'll be able to see the James Webb in your beyond view of the planets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you get to see it there permanently in the Beyond Garden. So that's just a nice little touch.
Yeah, this is, and we're calling this an artifact. So in the event, you're actually kind of generating this artifact, this James Webb Telescope. And if you complete the entire event, then it shows up in your Beyond world. So it's like you get this. This is your keepsake for completing it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is pretty much the majority of the details I think we can share for now about the event without giving away too much. If anyone has any questions about the event, feel free to ask them now. And if there's something that seems to be should be quick to answer, we'll answer it as soon as we can, or we will again save your questions for the Q&A, and we'll be sure to respond to as many questions as we can during the live stream.
Oh, hey Hardik, thanks for stopping by the stream. Hardik did the original Hindi translation. Hardik, by the way, we got the translations for the James Webb event, or we got professional translators to do that, because I know in the past we'll release content and sometimes the translations are not so great in some languages. I know when we released the Beyond, Polish was like really bad, but because these events only run a short amount of time, we're trying to make sure that the translations in all languages are really good. So if you're playing Stealth Singularity in another language and you try the event, hopefully it's going to be really solid out of the gate.
Yeah, I know it was really important to us to be able to hire professional translators to get this out the gate in time and to make it as accessible as possible to all of our players. For some things that had to be added into the game last minute, I think we had to use Google Translate, unfortunately. But the majority of the text, the vast majority of it, is translated by professional translators, which is something that we're really excited about. Also, I just wanted to share a little bit of like the thought process of what went into this event. Our researcher uses a software called Miro to draft out the tree and how it would look, and what the thought process is going into how we lay out the information. So I thought it would be cool to just show a little sneak peek of that. Here at the beginning, you can see there's the James Webb Telescope node, and when we first started creating this event, we were wondering how do we convey all this information in a format that makes sense. And as you can see here, she laid it out with history and how that'll branch out into other subtopics, and then construction and goals are their own topics as well. So in the end, with the James Webb Telescope event, we really wanted to convey how important it was in terms of construction, and how revolutionary it was, and it took so long to construct it for many reasons that we go over in the tree, and what the goals of it are, because it's really cool how it's supposed to be like a predecessor to the Hubble telescope, and to fill in its shoes where it lacks certain skills and capabilities, and the history of it, which is something that I think is a common theme throughout the whole Cells game, where we're always trying to show more about human history and how we're always constantly improving.
Oh, Emily, are you going to show them the sneak peek of those drawings on the side?
Sure. I know also when we were originally developing this event, we were playing around with the pop-up and how that's going to look. It's still not in a place where we're entirely happy with. But it works for now, and it's still within the Cells branding theme. But we are, here are some sketches, some concept art where we're thinking of making it a little bit poppier, more illustration based.
Yeah, so just to give you guys a little, this is kind of a sneak peek. We don't know, like I said, the James Webb is a prototype. We're trying to figure out like how it works. But the thing we're most excited about is these smaller events will give us a little more freedom to explore other topics that we might not be exploring on the main tree, and hopefully get content out faster. So these are just some brainstorm ideas. You can see you got Unfold the Galaxy there with the picture of the James Webb. We were like, oh, what if we did something about like money or something, like the history of money? So we got maybe illusion of value, or even we're still doing a lot of content for the Beyond, so we could talk something about maybe the space race or Voyager, and then yeah, it looks like there's some sort of fungus one, but you can see the range, like the range of topics. So like you may not be that interested in the James Webb Telescope, but maybe you're really into like mushrooms or something, and so some topics are going to be really exciting to you to learn about.
For sure. And again, I'm seeing a couple people already making some suggestions of what they want to see events for. So we'll be keeping an eye on all of your suggestions throughout the stream. And again, I'll be asking again at the Q&A session at the end what you would like to see in terms of events. So keep your answers at the ready. I see there's already an insects one, which I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, insects good. And CT Gamer said like, oh, a tree on airplanes, like maybe not airplanes, but maybe the history of flight. So you can talk about the entire story of flight and or human flight, and talk a lot about airplanes in that. Oh yeah, and the rock update. Maybe we'll even do the rock update one day. I don't know.
It's exciting because all of these events offer an opportunity for us to explore something that we wanted to for a long time in the game that we might not have been able to, because I know when we were working on the Beyond expansion, a big factor of concern for us was how long it took and how much people wanted new content while we had a major dry spell during development time. So hopefully this would be a solution for that in between making bigger form content. But yeah, I think this event is just really exciting, and I'm glad that we're going over what our whole team went through to make it happen.
Yeah, and like
I think it's worth. Okay. I was just going to say, in terms of kind of showing off some of our process, this tool allows us, you can see my cursor there, to work together. And so we would be figuring out, like, if the Space Telescope and Origins are modifiers for the Ground Telescope, and we could kind of work together in real time to figure out how we want the requirements to work. And so the researchers would work with the game designers and those who are writing the story, and we could all work on this thing. We're zoomed in right now, so you can't see the whole tree because we don't want to give it away. But this tool just let us really work together well, and try to make sure that we had a good synthesis of the story that we want to tell of the James Webb Telescope and all of the information, and also making sure that the gameplay feels fresh and feels good going forward. So it's definitely a team effort, but this is the type of tool that we use to get that done.
Yeah, I like how user-friendly this is, and it feels like we're all playing in a sandbox together when we're coming up with like, oh no, this node should go here. Oh, this should actually be a node that increases production of this generator. It's a nice balance of being able to illustrate what we all want of the event. So this is just a little sneak peek of what it looks like in pre-production phase. There's only so much I think we can show. I want to avoid spoilers because you all have to see what the event is going to be like for yourself in real time tomorrow. So this is pretty much has wrapped up our segment on the James Webb Telescope event. Our exploration, our first ever exploration, out of many to come, hopefully. So thank you everyone for just hearing us out on that, and we hope you're excited about the exploration coming live tomorrow. The telescope is just so pretty. I can't get over that solar panel and like how pink it is on the bottom. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very strange to look at, and it's it's floating out in space now. This was kind of the reason we chose the James Webb is because it is kind of the biggest thing right now in popular science, and with these exploration events, we want to feature like stuff that's going on like right now. So if there's a new discovery that occurs in science or biology, potentially we might do a mini event on it. So that's we're hoping to do some stuff like that this year.
Yeah, the James Webb itself just launched end of December, and I think we're hoping to get the first images fairly soon. So yeah, this is really cutting edge.
I heard it already started taking some images, not particularly good ones. It's just testing out.
JMed asked if we'll feature any other telescopes. I don't know. The Hubble is also a node on the tree in the James Webb event, but I'm not sure if we'll do one completely on the Hubble, but who knows?
Cool. Another important update that happened was we had a really big Beyond retuning, which I know was kind of jarring for some players who really got into the Beyond and were close to end game. But we have Anthony with us who conducted the big retune, and we released some blog posts about it, like explaining to people why we decided to do the retune, and it's just to provide some further information about it because we want it to have more longevity. And along with that, we have some graphs to accompany some of that information. So Anthony, take it away.
All right. Yeah, I spend a lot of time in spreadsheets and graphs, and so I thought I'd share a little bit of the process. This one is actually from the James Webb event. So this is showing, I was modeling out how much, this is cache per second. In this case, you're earning the little Hubble icons, or not Hubble icons, the James Webb icons, and wanted to get a sense of, over time, which of the different generators become kind of like the dominant ones. And so this is just showing that the bottom axis there is hours. So this is just the first half hour or so, or not even. But you can see that early on you just have the ground telescope that's generating everything. And then once you unlock the Hubble, at first it's not too powerful, but then it'll start to take over and become a lot stronger. And then the James Webb will eventually unlock. It takes a few more upgrades to get it all the way up to becoming the dominant one there. Later on, they'll actually start kind of swapping around so that older ones may become more important later. You can see a big jump on the right side there for the James Webb, and that's when you hit one of the unlocks that like doubles its production. And so you can see a few of those throughout here. The little bumps are when you buy one more of the item, but then the bigger jumps are when you get one of the upgrades. So this type of modeling is what we use to try to make sure that as you're progressing throughout the game, that the different generators have are important at different times, and hopefully there's at least a couple of them that are important at the same time. And I kind of philosophically try to avoid having just a single, whatever the newest one is always the most important one, because that's not quite as interesting. So sometimes we'll keep it so that the top 2 or 3 are all relevant. Sometimes we'll have something throw back and make an old one suddenly 1,000 times more powerful, so it becomes the most relevant one. So the whole idea is just to have it be interesting, have it be not quite as predictable, so that as a player you're discovering what's next and you're seeing that things are changing over time, and that you have to sort of strategize a little bit based on the new information to figure out where to focus. And that's the general kind of design philosophy that we use when we're putting together the main progression or the events.
Anthony, what's going on at that yellow bar gets really high at the end? What happened there?
Yeah, so that is, I think, the first of the James Webb upgrades that you get, and it's I forget if it's a full. It looks like it's actually more than double. As you go from 1,000 to about 2,500, 2,600 per second. So it's a big upgrade that you get that suddenly makes the James Webb substantially more powerful than the Hubble at that point. Though there are a few more Hubble upgrades too, and they'll start to kind of swap back and forth. And so, as we're doing the modeling of this, we can set the time frames. Right now, I think every one of those ticks is representing 3 seconds, but I can change that, and we can zoom out more and more and see how more of them are relevant over time.
Yeah, Anthony, something you've kind of taught me about the design of this is like you like it when different generators become relevant over time. So it's not just like the most expensive one isn't always the most valuable, but sometimes they change places, so you have to kind of change your strategy, which makes the building of the economy a lot more interesting to think about.
Yep, yeah. I want to avoid being like some idle games. The top generator is always the most important one, and the other ones sort of don't matter. And I think that's ultimately just a little boring as a player. So try to keep it a little more interesting, a little more on your toes as you're going through it, so that you have to kind of pay attention to how fast each one of them is generating per second, and every once in a while I'll get surprised when something becomes more powerful that you may have thought was no longer relevant. Yeah, if we want to move on to the next one, so the next few slides are data that we collected about the Beyond retune. And we had a few, let's see here. So overall, what this is looking at is the retune that we did just a couple weeks ago and comparing it to the tuning from earlier. And the numbers here are showing what percentage of people got through that mission in the new one compared to the old one. So the negative mean that fewer people are getting through it now than they were before. In this case, we actually didn't make any changes to the first rank there. So this is likely due to just sort of a different audience. Maybe the players that were coming on before were ones that were more engaged with it, or were older players. So that the minus here is an audience or seasonal or some other change. I don't know, Emily, if you can zoom in a little bit so we can see the right side,
Sure.
or behind where our heads are.
I will move it along. I'll be your guide.
Perfect. Awesome. So one of the things that's very clear here is that on mission 2.5, there's a big jump, and we see that a substantially larger percentage of people are completing that mission compared to where it was before we made the update. That is actually due to a tutorial that we added. For those of you who have played it, there are times when you can go in and do a research mission that takes 5 minutes, or eventually they start taking a lot longer. But we didn't actually, it's a new function that didn't exist in Dinosaurs, and we hadn't actually explicitly taught in the game. And so this is a tutorial that shows you how to do that. And very fortunately, we see that as we tutorialize it, people follow it and understand how it works. So we were really happy to see that jump there, that a lot more people are completing that section now that we're making it clearer as to what that means and how to do it. And so those are the kind of changes that we want to see when we make an adjustment. Also, just to sort of explain what the axes are on this. So the top, you can see the different solar ranks and then the missions within them. And then the left side, it went down from 0 to 7. And what that's ultimately looking at is what percentage of people are getting through that mission by that day. So everything on the top is looking at how many people get through that mission on the first day they play it, whereas when you get down to the bottom one, it's within the 7th day. So it gives us a really nice look of completion over time as well as the depth of the game. We have a really good data scientist who goes through and kind of synthesizes all this data and gives us good visualizations so that we can understand the changes that we're making and see if they're actually having the desired effects. I just realized I should have pulled up my, oh, go ahead.
So the tutorial worked. Now people can get past the dispatch missions.
Yes.
Tutorials are a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then looking back at the, sorry, I was just checking my notes to make sure I had the right changes here. So one of the other adjustments that we've made is, as many of you have probably noticed, the last few missions of each of the solar ranks were often very difficult and would take a really long time. And part of that was that we wanted you, when you unlocked a new solar rank, to be able to get through it pretty quickly. But we also had to make sure that the whole rank didn't go by too quickly on its own. And so there was this really heavy ramp up of how long it would take to finish the last few missions. And overall, I think I went too far in that direction. So we started making adjustments to try to correct for that. And so you can see that in this one, we made the mission 3 a good bit harder. So we're slowing down that early part a bit. We also made mission 9 a lot easier. And so you can see fewer people are getting through mission 3 early on. If you look at the bottom, it's almost the same number are getting through by the 9th day there. But it's slowing down the early part, but then also making that last mission a lot less painful, so that instead of taking a day, it might only take 8 hours. So that was the goal. And again, looking at the data, we can see we were successful in that goal, which is really great. It means it worked. And you can see that that same philosophy we did in rank 5 there and rank 6. And you'll see a similar pattern of some darker reds in the early sections and then more greens showing up in the later sections.
Look at all that green.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this change because a lot of times you get to the end of a rank in the Beyond and it just gets a little slow and a bit grindy. So I think this is gonna smooth it out a little bit. We also had a lot of missions that sometimes they would last or ranks that would last quite long. Like some of the later ranks could take a week or more. And I think you said you were trying to get them, they're all completable now in a shorter amount of time, I think.
Yeah, usually it depends a little bit on what upgrades you've purchased and if you're occasionally watching ads, but we do want to make sure that none of them take an insanely long time. And especially if we're going to add more content, I don't want them to be getting longer and longer and longer because that just gets a little bit boring. So we're trying to control for it a little bit and even out the curve so that the beginnings may feel a little bit slower, but the last few aren't as incredibly slow as some of them were prior. And one of the clearest examples of the change we made there is on the next set of data. One of the just one of those painful missions was the last one in rank 16, and it was just too long. It was too slow, and so we made a big adjustment there to just make that one faster because it was too much. And you can see very clearly that a lot more people are getting through that one now compared to the previous version. So that's sort of a view into the process of looking at the previous data, seeing where people were getting stuck. We noticed people weren't getting through the dispatch mission as much as we wanted to. We saw a lot of people were falling off near the ends of each rank because it was taking so much more time. And so we made those adjustments, pushed them out there, and then we collect data on how people are getting through it and use that to validate and make sure that what we wanted to happen was happening. And the good news is that we are seeing that happen. Another thing I do want to address is that for those of you who are playing the Beyond, we made a lot of changes from Uranus out in terms of the costs of the different celestial bodies and how much they generate. The reason for this was that they were getting kind of bunched up, and so a lot of times you would unlock a new planet and immediately be able to buy 20 or 30 or 40 of them. And it made it so that the new one sort of didn't feel as significant, because you'd suddenly just buy a bunch of them and it was like all the rest of them. So I wanted to spread those out a bit more and make it so that when you unlock a new one, it does have a lot of strength to it. And you can maybe only buy a few of them at the beginning, but they're very effective in terms of how much they're generating. So that was a lot of the logic behind those shifts in balance. And I think overall it does feel better. But one of the side effects that was honestly just a mistake on my part I missed was that some of the achievements, like getting the last of the celestial bodies up to the rank 8, I think that was required to get the top achievement, became effectively impossible. And so we got some really good feedback through email and Discord of people letting us know that had happened, and we've made adjustments to that now so that the achievement is now actually achievable. So, thank you everyone for both giving us that feedback and for your patience as we adjusted that. But yeah, it was not our intention to make something impossible. We were just adjusting everything to try to make the overall game feel better, and just missed the fact that it happened to make one of those achievements just not feasible within a human's lifetime. So yeah, that's how all that happened. A little peek behind the curtain there.
Alpha Centauri was not possible when we initially launched the Beyond, but now you can get the Alpha Centauri achievements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of these tuning changes make a lot of sense. The gameplay runs a little bit more smoothly now. It's nice to be able to finish up all these missions. Thank you, Anthony, for going into detail about this. I know that a lot of our players appreciate this.
Happy to. I get to talk math in front of people, and it's always fun for me.
Awesome. We're glad that you can talk math with us. All right. Thank you, everyone. So that wraps up also the tuning pass that we've done on the Beyond. If you also want to read the Reddit post that Anthony drafted up to explain it further, it's available on our Reddit page, r/Cell to Singularity. I think it's still up as a sticky note, so it should be easily accessible for now. Also, before we go into the Darwinium code, I know we're getting a good amount of questions of people asking about the code. There is a code. Don't worry, it's getting there. But just real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to a YouTuber who has been doing a couple videos about our game recently, Jazz Ghost. He's really cool. All of his videos are in Portuguese, but he makes some pretty cool content. He's a funny guy, so I recommend checking him out and his videos about cells. They're a lot of fun, and it was really cool to see him have these videos, and that we saw like a player spike because of them. So we just wanted to give him a shout out and say thank you for reviewing our game, and it's really cool. So thank you very much. We're looking forward to seeing the future videos he has planned of reviewing our game. I heard whispers in one of his video chats that he's gonna do a video about the Mesozoic Valley. So I hope it's not too scathing of the grindiness of it, but I do look forward to it, and I hope there's going to be a little highlight of Archie. It wouldn't be a Cells live stream if I didn't bring up Archie somehow.
Yeah, so any new Brazilian fans, yeah, welcome to the game.
Yeah. I saw Eduardo, I think, said he was from Brazil, so hello, Eduardo.
Awesome. So thank you again to Jazz Ghost. Be sure to check him out, guys. We recommend seeing his videos and what he has to say. All right, now it's time for the code. I know everyone's really excited about that. This one, I feel like I'm getting a little obvious with these codes. I'm not as creative as I used to be. With that in mind, can anyone guess what this month's code could possibly be? James Webb is a good guess. Think more in terms of branding, I guess. What are these events called? I'm gonna just queue up the.
Oh, there it is.
Exploration event. It's close. Yeah, exploration.
Yeah, I'll give it to you guys. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's explore.
What do you guys think of the name? We're trying to come up with a name for the event. So yeah, exploration event.
Exploration.
You're like it's an exploration that you go on.
Do people like the term explorations? We've thought about it very hard about what to call our live events. I think explorations is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we were debating investigations at one point, but yeah, it's about kind of exploring some element of science or yeah.
I feel like it needs to be more science fiction, but I guess it's okay.
Well, in the meantime, everyone can help themselves to this code. It's explore, EXPLORE, all caps. It's it's for 25 cubes, I believe. And again, I'm so sorry to our iOS players. I really wish there was an easier way to put in the code, but the best way you can do it is to, if you have access to Steam or a computer to download Steam on, to create another Cell to Singularity game for you to cloud transfer your iOS game into, redeem the code through there, and then bring it back into your phone. We do want to...
Right, rest of the code. Hey, try the code now. It should work. I think Ryan forgot to.
Ryan. All right.
Ryan. Remember that duck guy from last month? Well, he messed up the code.
I gave it to him a little last minute, so I don't blame him. You blame me.
Try the code again.
Okay, it works now. Thank you. All right. So that should be for 25 cubes. For Android and Steam players, you just go into the top right corner, click on the hamburger menu, and then scroll down to redeem code, and you can redeem it there. It's all caps, and it's cap sensitive, so.
Yeah, all caps explore.
I'll put it in the chat as well. All right.
Yeah, it is an iOS policy that you're not supposed to put codes in, so it's we're just trying to abide by Apple's requests there.
And it looks like there's a crashing bug because of the code. Is anyone else experiencing that issue?
I think CTS was saying that they were experiencing a crashing bug with Wi-Fi in general. So I think, yeah, if you can reach out in Discord or email, we can try to help with that directly. But I doubt we can really help you in the live stream here.
I'll email him. I saw your email, CTS Gamer. I gotta figure out what's going on.
All right. Well, I'll pull up the code again at the end of the live stream, but now it's time for the Q&A. So if you have questions about the James Webb Telescope Exploration event, if you have questions for Anthony about the retuning for the Beyond, feel free to ask us away. If you just want to know, sometimes we get questions about what animes we're watching. You can ask anything. Now's your chance. We have about 10 minutes left of the show, so we look forward to hearing all of your questions. Again, I said I was going to ask you guys if you had a certain topic that you could turn into any Cell to Singularity exploration event, what would it be? So if it's something like scientific, like I know for me, I would really love to have insects, especially bees. Bees are really cool. So if I could have like a tree that's like honeybees and how they operate, what their life cycle is like, how they affect humans' lives and the ecosystem, that would be a really cool tree. That's my number one.
Bees.
All right, we got
I think microbiology is interesting, but we probably need to get more specific. Like, is there an area of microbiology, CTS, that you would want to focus on?
Yeah, microbiology is a pretty broad subject, so we would have to find something more specific. But that is a really cool sector of science, so I do think it's another one on our list. We have a long list of events we would like to do.
We do like what are those, water bears, or I forget what they're called now.
Oh yeah.
The document files.
They're really cool. When is the rock
Tardigrades?
update?
Is that the technical name for
I
them?
think so. Yeah, tardigrades or tardigrades. Yeah. They're really cute when you look at them up close. I mean, they're kind of freaky, but they're cute in a weird way. When is the rock update? We would really like to do a geology exploration at some point. But after last year's April Fool's joke, I realized how many people really do want to have a rock update for real. So it has been on our radar. We are very well aware. Thank you again for the reminder.
Yeah, geology. Let's see. Rushford asked, "Are you going to put lights on the terraformed Mars like Earth?" You may have noticed we put lights for cities on Earth and the beyond. We also, if you terraform Mars, it shows the terraform texture, but there's no lights on it. I don't know, Rushford. Yeah, maybe we will. That's a good idea.
We got a question asking if this would release early. We did release the exploration event for beta a couple weeks back, and that was in the enrolled for anyone who was already in the beta program. But the event itself is launching live to everybody tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern.
Got a question. Will there ever be more upgrades for the Reality Engine or more options to spend metabits? I've currently got every upgrade available. Yes, we are thinking about some ideas, but we don't have any concrete plans yet. But that is something that's on our mind. They want stickers on Discord. We'll have to get Olga and yes, Sir H and Adita if there's more stickers we could add.
Yeah, that's been on my radar as well. It's on my long to-do list of add more stickers to Discord, so I will push that up the priority list. Any rewards for completing the event? Yes, you get badges. You could either get a bronze, silver, or gold badge. They kind of act like their own secret achievements just for these explorations. And as Anthony described earlier, they provide an entropy boost to your main simulation. So there is some cool lasting factor in them. But depending on how far you progressed in the event, you'll either end up with bronze, silver, or gold.
Just to so everyone's not surprised by it, the boost that you get is not large, but that's because we're planning on doing more of these. So we want to set it so that, as you collect them over time, then it starts to become a lot more significant. So it'll be a little underwhelming if you think of this as the only reward you're going to get, but since we're trying to be more regular with this, we're setting it a little smaller so that you can collect a whole bunch of them.
Makes sense. You don't want things to be too OP.
Adita Armad asks, are we back in the office or is it still pandemic? We're not in the office yet, but I think in April we'll start coming in 2 days a week.
We have Brendan asking, is the Ungulate tree going to be revamped in the future? It would be cool. I think, I know at some point in the future, I could see Olga really wanting to restructure the tree a little bit. It would be cool to add some more ungulates, but I know it's not on our radar for now. We do have a focus on the explorations for now, and to see how we can keep some new content cycling through. But when we do have time, we'll see what we can do about updating Mesozoic Valley and past expansions that we've done.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what ungulates were, but it's a deer.
It's just
the deer
hooved,
the
hooved
animals.
The hooved, generally leaf-eating animals.
Yeah, I think we already have the ungulates is a pretty big part of the tree already.
It's very big.
Yeah, so instead of adding to that, we do we do want to get, I think, amphibians, like a very small amphibian thing. And then we still don't have the gorilla in there, or the great apes. So those are some ones that are kind of on the agenda, I think, to put in there. Our roadmap, we haven't updated our roadmap in a while, so hopefully next week we'll get around to updating that so you can see what we're planning to do.
Brendan said that it's not as accurate as the other branches, so that's good to know. We can inform our researcher about that, so we can keep it on the list of things that we need to do.
Oh yeah, is there an easy thing we can fix to make it more accurate, or is it just in general?
I think it's always good to just go through the game to comb for accuracy and research, because things get updated in science. We're always discovering new things every day.
It's this, okay. Error 404 says, why is it that for the supergiant stars, the amount of epics and rares don't increase as you progress in the ranks in the beyond? Whereas I think in the Mesozoic Valley they do increase. Anthony, do you want to field that one? Like why don't we get more rares as we rank up in the beyond?
Yeah. So and the commons do increase in volume. As you get later, you'll get more of them. And the reason for that is that we wanted to keep it so that your chances of getting a particular common didn't really change as you unlock more and more of them. And so as you progress through the game, you unlock more and more of the common upgrades. And so we scale it so that if you have unlocked 10 of them and you were to get 20 cards, later when you've got 20 available, we'll give you 40. And so that way it sort of works out evenly in terms of the odds of getting the earlier ones and the later ones, because the earlier ones are still important when you're trying to get through the early parts quickly. It's actually similar to what Clash of Clans does. So if any of you play that, you'll notice that they scale the number based on how many you've unlocked. The epics, there's only 3 of them. And so as you unlock them, like, you're not getting more and more and more of them. And they also upgrade pretty quickly and are extremely powerful, similar for the rares. So we wanted to keep those a little more valuable and a little more unusual. We did at some point play around with scaling it, and it ended up so that it just sort of, you buy like one of the big supergiants, and then all of a sudden everything's pretty much maxed out on those because there are only a few of them. So we wanted to keep the rares and epics a little bit more valuable and harder to find, but also have the commons scale so that you can get lots of them and get those up to higher levels. But yeah, really good question.
Hi, Playmore. How's it going? Thanks for joining the stream. Diet Water 93, nice name. What is the tiny green dot at the right of the orange circle on the simulation select button? So we updated the world switcher, our simulation select button, to try to make it a little more universal. We're still messing with the design. There is a little green dot next to one of the circles. That's supposed to represent that you have a geode, a free geode that you can open up in the Mesozoic simulation. However, it's not super clear at the moment. So we're planning to continue to kind of work on that world switcher and simulation switcher button to make it easier to understand.
I see we have a couple good suggestions for some potential explorations and some good questions. I see someone talking about convergent evolution. It just makes me think of how cool it would be to like pick apart the process of evolution itself in an event, because that's what the game is about after all. So just like explaining what evolution is and how things have come to be the way they are, and like certain processes in evolution. Like, I know I don't know the nitty-gritty of it. So if we researched about evolution, that would be kind of a cool event.
Yeah, that is neat, because I think it's been pointed out that even though our game is all about the history of evolution, it doesn't actually illustrate the process of evolution that well, like the randomness of genetic randomness and like some species succeeding and some failing. It really is just a linear kind of story of our own evolution. So it might be interesting to explain that.
Yeah. Also, Playmore asked about if we would be adding any more mini games, kind of like how we have the Singularity speedrun. If you get the achievement, that would be cool. I mean, again, another thing that we would love to add if we find that we have the time. Our current focus is on the explorations, though, which is kind of like their own mini game. So it's like a mini version of the cell's main tree. So you could look at it that way.
Great. I think one or two more questions, and I think we got to wrap it up.
Yeah. So ask your questions now. We have one or two more left.
I mean, a great question. FCP Christian, Wind Beyond Phase 2 coming out. So that is, yeah, we've done a lot of research on it already, and we're planning to kind of get started on the next phase of that. But no dates yet.
Yeah, I know we're focusing to balance working on that while also being able to support explorations at the same time. So when we are going to start development for the second phase of the Beyond, we'll be letting you know in the live streams.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I might have to go.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I can hear Kati in the background. Yeah. All right. Well then, I think that's it for the live stream anyway. It's 2 o'clock anyway. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Anthony, and for talking more about your process. It was great having you. And all the familiar faces, all of the new faces in chat, thank you so much for coming out and joining us for our February live stream. It was great having you all.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and we hope that you like our pilot episode of the events. The James Webb event starts tomorrow at 5 p.m. and yeah, get ready.
If I could add a confetti pop at some point, I will. But for now, I'll have to settle with my hands. Woo! Confetti! Yay!
Awesome.
Wow!
Okay,
awesome.
bye everyone.
Thanks everyone.
All right, have a good weekend.
See you in the game tomorrow. Bye.